Right, great. I hope all of you can see my screen one more time. Can I get a quick thumbs up to confirm the same? Perfect. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Sanket Shikhar. I will be your host for today, and I welcome you all into today's session where we are going to go ahead and deep dive into a very important discussion, which is going to be about doctoral degree if you can go ahead and get it without a career break. I mean, this question has been haunting a lot of people for a very long time that me as a working professional, can I go ahead and pursue a doctoral degree program? Can I go ahead and get my PhD or DBA study done without quitting my life, without quitting my job, without pausing my life? So today we are going to go ahead and deep dive into this topic. So a very warm welcome to all of you who have joined us today. Via Zoom, through other social media platforms. A very warm welcome to all of you into this informative session on doctoral degree without a career break. Is it a myth or a reality? We are going to go ahead and explore how working professionals can pursue doctoral degree without stepping away from their career. And this session is perhaps going to help you understand the modern doctoral pathways for professionals and how it can go ahead and align with your current role. I already see the enthusiasm buzzing with all the messages floating in my inbox and all the emojis that I'm seeing. But guess what? That's not the only reason. You guys have decided to commit 2 hours for a session like this today on a Sunday, where perhaps you could be doing anything, chilling out with your friends, spending time with your family, but you decided to go ahead and spend some time into learning something new. So that itself calls for a celebration. So a quick round of applause for yourself for making sure that you are available today on this day. However, here's a small taunting question for all of you. Have you guys dedicated yourself for this transformative experience? Our goal is simple for today. Okay. We want you to help make a well-informed decision that aligns with your career aspirations and professional goals. Having said that, it's also important that you guys go ahead and clear your schedule and fully immerse yourself into today's transformative experience. And this boot camp, this workshop, it deserves your undivided attention. So make sure that you're joining in from your computer, mobile phone, whatever, but you have a quiet space and we have your undivided attention. We have some great insights for today, super special doctoral information session, and we are going to share multiple insights with you. We will help you get a jump start in your career. Now, quick question, who should attend this session? Obviously, this workshop, this webinar, this informative session is designed for professionals considering a DBA program, considering a doctoral degree for themselves. So if you are a mid-career or a senior professional, you are an industry expert exploring doctoral pathways, you are an aspiring academician or a consultant, we are going to go ahead and talk more about it throughout the session, how you can go ahead and pursue these dreams. Now, let me quickly go ahead and introduce myself before we begin. My name is Sanket Shikhar. I will be your host for today. And I work in the capacity of Head of Business Operations with Exaltius. Some of you probably know me already. I've been working in the education space for more than a decade right now, and I primarily help people pivot their career into technology from non-technology backgrounds. And while doing so, I have helped more than 10,000 plus people in order to go ahead and achieve their dreams. There are multiple awards, recognitions that I have got for that. However, the most important thing that I cherish is the smile on people's face when they go ahead and succeed and when they call and tell us that, yes, we made it through. I am going to go ahead and host this session with three well-recognized, well-renowned member, and perhaps we are covering almost the complete globe over here. To begin with, I have Dr. Rajiv Iyer, who is joining us from India today. He brings with himself close to 20 years of experience. I have Dr. Enrique joining me from Philippines. He is also one of our DBA MBA professors who helps students go ahead and complete their research work and multiple things. And he brings with him close to 30 years of experience, even more than that. I remember he started working in 1989, so that's been a while. Plus, I have Gabriel Julian, who is joining us from West Indies. Okay, he is also one of our research supervisors in education leadership and management. And together, the panel probably has close to, if I put myself in, close to 100 years of experience. So that's what we are bringing on table for you. And I hope all of you go ahead and have a good time. All right. So today's discussion is primarily going to be grounded on real experience. Okay. What actually works, what does not work, how professionals actually succeed at doctoral level. We have brought together the distinguished panel of academic leaders, industry experts from all across the globe in order to go ahead and talk about it. So, guys, how about a warm welcome to all my co-hosts? Can you guys give us some thumbs up? All right, amazing. Thank you. So let's go ahead and start today's session. And let me quickly go ahead and bring Dr. Gabriel Julian in for this. So, Dr. Gabriel, let's go ahead and start today's session with words of wisdom from you about the core problem. Why most professionals never start a doctorate program. Your thoughts, sir.
Thank you very much. Why most professionals never start a doctoral program? There are multiple reasons. However, first and foremost is they are intimidated. They feel, look, I will have to abandon my career. They feel that the structure of the program may not be adequate. They become intimidated. The whole idea of studies become daunted, and even before they begin, they abandon the task. Today, I emphatically tell you that is an illusion. That's a myth. You can focus on career, you can focus on your studies, and both can be done simultaneously. In fact, one complements the other because you work, and based on your work experience, based on your knowledge, you're able to put both together. So I would say that it is very beneficial, very profitable to remove that fear and say, look, I am able to achieve, I can achieve, and I must attain my goal. So you have your career, and within that career, you are able then to do your studies. So your studies inform your career, and vice versa. So I want to really encourage, motivate all of you to pursue your goals, to pursue your dreams, to really attain your ideals. They are possible. Another reason why professionals never start, never continue, it is probably because, well, I shouldn't say probably, it is because they are unable to choose a research topic. Within your career, it is important you choose a topic that is relevant, a topic that is pertinent, a topic that is interested, that is interesting. I like this field. This is the topic. And not only are you choosing a topic, but you are also centering on the problem. I often tell students if there is no problem, well, then there is no research. What are you researching? This is the problem based on my experience, based on my career, based on my place of work, based on my knowledge, my reading, my limited research thus far, and I really want to explore this scenario. And that zeal to explore that scenario, coupled with your desire to maintain your career and also become qualified, competent, I think is strong motivation to propel you to go beyond. So you have that research topic, and the research topic really helps you to maintain your perspective. It helps you to maintain your goal. It helps you to retain your ideal. So you have that topic in your mind. This is what I want to pursue. So you're excited, you are exuberant, you are elated because, as we say, you have the better of two worlds. Again, too, when we think of the DBA program, we may ask the question, what is the purpose in studies? As a research supervisor, I often tell my students, please continue your studies. Why? You have your career, you have your academic qualifications, whether it is in business administration, management, leadership, entrepreneurship, and you are able then to bring both together by the area in the field of education. You could become an adjunct or part-time lecturer. You could become a professor. You can be an executive academic uh, one day. You can be an advisor. You can be an online hybrid university educator. So do not minimize, do not diminish yourself and say you are unable to accomplish. I often tell students, and I'm telling you all here now today, this morning, it's very early, that you can do that. Do not be daunted. It is possible to really um, do both. In addition to your career, your qualification, you are now writing papers, you are publishing in peer review articles, you are presenting at academic conferences, you collaborate with other members who have equal opportunities like yourself, and that boosts your esteem and motivates you and helps you to really do your best. So I say, give it a good try. Do not be daunted. Do not be intimidated. Moreover, this program gives you the corresponding assistance that you desire. Assistance is provided. Help is given. You are given that guidance. You are given that what expertise, the advice so that stimulation could be augmented. You are given the necessary assistance so that stimulation, cognition could be energized. So you're energized, you are motivated, you are propelled because so use that to minimize that fear, eradicate that fear. So there's no longer fear. You have your research topic, you have your research problem. This is what I will go. This is, and that motivates, it really moves you to go beyond. And your place of work, your academia really, as we say, opens a lot of opportunities. You are publishing. I remember when I published my first paper, I was so elated. And then you publish individually, you publish with peers, you meet people on that level so that you become interested in your own life, in your career. It boosts your esteem and you are able to accomplish your studies. Therefore, I strongly encourage you, I strongly motivate you, I strongly uh, ask you to consider your studies and simultaneously maintain your career.
Right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gabriel. Thank you for all the
Most welcome.
insights. So, primarily, yes, it's possible. And with all your experience and coming out directly from you, it actually adds a lot more gravity. Now, let me go ahead and jump on to another question. And this is primarily the most common question that comes across my desk also. Okay. People kind of get confused between DBA and PhD. Okay, what is the right path? Shall I go ahead and get a PhD? Shall I go ahead and get a DBA? Is there any difference? Are they totally different? I mean, lots of questions, uncertainties surrounding that. Now, Dr. Enrique, you have been taking sessions for both PhD, you've been taking sessions for DBA, you have been working with students coming in from different, different parts of the world, different, line of businesses, technical, non-technical. I mean, massive. The list goes on and on. How about you go ahead and enlighten us today with your thoughts? What stands between DBA and PhD? How these two are different, and how can people make the right choice? Sorry, you're on mute.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's afternoon here in the Philippines. I could relate that question when I did my Doctor of Management related to DBA. It's an applied science. Way back in 2013, I was actually have to choose between PhD in education and Doctor of Management, just like DBA, an applied science thing. And I opted to choose the Doctor of Management simply because I was managing a school then at that time. I was managing a school at that time. So I could see, well, if I'm going to have this doctorate in management, this will certainly be used in the current job that I am doing. So what's the difference between DBA and PhD? First, let's try to understand PhD. So PhD is primarily theory driven. And this is simply designed for those individuals, for those professionals who want to contribute to academic knowledge, often pursuing careers in research intensive universities. So if your line of work is into that direction, teaching in various universities, then PhD is the right doctorate for you. So in other words, PhD tends to be highly theoretical and methodological. How about DBA, Doctorate in Business Administration? This is an applied and practice oriented. This is an applied and practice oriented doctorate, and this is especially designed for working professionals, executives, and administrators. And I suppose students, people, professionals who are currently working in various capacities and roles, then I think this DBA is the right doctorate for you. Now, if the goal, therefore, is academic research and theory building, then I would advise go for PhD. But if the goal is leadership, consultancy, policy, or organizational improvement, then I would advise for a DBA for that purpose. And that was, therefore, I had made a right decision 12 or 13 years ago when I chose Doctor of Management. It's an applied science. It's an applied doctorate like DBA because I was then, you know, an administrator. I was then managing an institution at that particular time. So the question there is, why? Yeah, I think that's the only point that I could perhaps initially share the difference between DBA and PhD. Although you have shared the shared knowledge and skills, you still go through advanced research methodologies. There's still critical thinking and analysis and data interpretation for that particular effect. I've been teaching now DBA. I've been teaching also PhD. Same method about research methodologies and all those critical thinking and analysis skills that we are developing in the lives of our students. Same with data interpretation and application. So going back again, it depends upon your intention, your direction. So if you are more into the theoretical and methodological thing, if you're into become professor in university, then I would advise for PhD. But if you are actually a practicing professional like CEO, managers, executives in various institutions, then the DBA is a perfect, I would say, doctorate for you. Yes, Mr. Sankit.
Thank you, Dr. Enrique. And not to mention that it can be completed in lesser time also, which also does excite a lot of people. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Enrique, for sharing all your insights. And as we all see that it connects with your life so well that I hope it resonates with our audience also today. Now, let me quickly go ahead and loop in Dr. Rajiv Iyer also. Now, Dr. Rajiv, you are not just an academician. You have been working in the capacity of data scientist, generative AI expert, and coming from a tech background. I think you are the perfect guy to answer this question also, because most of the people that go ahead and choose a program or take a career path today, they all go ahead and want to know this. What is the change that it will be making? I mean, how are we gonna go ahead and go after it? So once a guy completes his DBA, okay, as we know, it's a career multiplier in many senses. So what's your take on this? How does this go ahead and affect? Dr. Rajiv?
Okay, so for the audience, what changes after DBA? I would answer in one word. It increases your credibility. When I say it increases your credibility, what does it mean? Now, most of you who might be in executive roles in terms of your current job or business, you might look for future roles which are enhanced in terms of responsibilities and which will bring a better package, or it might improve your business if you are looking in the domain of entrepreneurship. Now, here, your credibility is what matters. Take the example, if you're getting into a senior management, if you're getting into board level roles like CTO, CO, CEO, and so on, your what you talk and what you strategize is going to be how your company progresses in the future. And here, your credibility will be the key. Now, what exactly happens, or what we intend to do after DBA is you might get into roles like consulting. You might be in an advisory role. You might be sitting in a board where you will be deciding or strategizing that what will be the next step on expanding a business, what will be the next step in increasing the ROI of a company, and so on. Now here, your role becomes even more critical once you have a doctorate degree. You bring in a lot more to the table than just any manager or just any CEO with a basic MBA degree. These are some of the insights which I would like to tell you in the long term, which you would like to achieve. Now, the third thing is, let's say if you want to enter into academia. So as Dr. Gabriel and Dr. Enrique already said, that you can get into academia as well as a adjunct faculty, where you can share your insights on how your daily work is transforming the industry in which you're working on. Now, in academia, the problem generally is we have faculty who might not have a very good exposure to the industry, or even if they have, they might not be knowing what is going on in a day-to-day in the industry. Now here is where your role comes in as an adjunct faculty, where after your DBA with your doctorate degree, you will be in a senior role, and you will be actually talking to students that what is going on at the background. When someone sees that, okay, this business is expanding into a new product, into a new domain, what exactly is happening at the back end? What deliberations and discussions are happening at the back end, to so that the students will also understand through your knowledge. So that is your role as an adjunct faculty, which you can contribute to build in the next generation of leaders. Another thing is your role as a research leader. Now, what do you mean a research leader? So research leader, you can differentiate from a regular leader in the case that you're not just going by intuition. If you want to make a decision, if you want to make a strategy, you are making it based on data, based on the previous results, numbers. So there is a lot of number crunching which is going on. That is where even data science and generative AI comes into picture, rather than just having some boardroom meetings, some brainstorming. We are talking about churning data here, because you now have a research background where you have done all this in the through the course of DBA. So you now will be recognized as a thought leader in your domain, where you rather than just doing the regular things of business expansion and things like that, maybe you create something new in your domain, you contribute some new knowledge in your domain, which may not exist as of now. So this is where your work experience will count in the research capital. And that is how your doctoral degree will basically enhance your positioning in the market as a thought leader. So these are some of the changes which I'd like to which I just told you as a leader. So just to summarize, your credibility, your authority, your data handling approach, creating new knowledge, and working as a thought leader are some of the advantages or some of the changes which you will see in your career after a DBA. Over to Sanket.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv. Thank you. And yes, you have summarized it pretty well. Credibility is what increases. In DBA, you learn how do you go ahead and approach a problem, solve a problem, data-driven approaches, and that's what changes the way you look at a problem, more or less. Now, uh, structuring is also something that is very important. When we go ahead and talk about DBA, what is the role of the structure? How do you want to go ahead and make sure that it is actually helping? Okay. Now, I will go ahead and ask Dr. Enrique to share his views on this topic, because he has worked with lots of colleges, universities all across the globe, on this part. And we also try to make sure that this is, one aspect that gets its due credit. Dr. Enrique, would you like to share your thoughts on this? Why structure matters in a working professional's DBA?
Yep. So I have some practical thoughts on that. First, let us try to define what is a structure. Okay, in the context of the working professionals DBA, let us try to understand that structure and lack of structure and support is a problem, especially among the candidates. Why? Because remember, these are professionals. These are full-time professionals. The question there is, how would they balance their time in their work, in their family, and study as well? So that's where there must be a proper structure. In other words, a well-structured DBA provides first clear milestones and timelines. clear milestone timelines. Normally for a DBA program, normally in these universities that I used to work with, two, I would say, assignments, and one, I would say, project for that matter. So more or less three assignments, and they are actually being distributed across 5 months or 6 months. It depends upon the semester. So they have to submit those assignments on that particular date. On that particular date. For example, in my case, I've been teaching research methodology. The outcome of this subject is for my students to come up a synopsis or research proposal. And basically speaking, a research proposal contains chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, because normally there are 5 or 6 chapters for a full dissertation paper. So that's why I really encourage my students, please do not underestimate, do not take this subject for granted. Why? Because if you finish this, so it's just would like to say that you're done with your chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. So the next stage for you, therefore, if you have the data already, then you can proceed with the data gathering and an analysis of the data, presentation of the data, and conclusion and recommendation for that effect. So there should be clear milestones and timelines, and that is structure. Another one, another very important structure that has to be considered by the university, of which our university is considering, is regular supervision and mentoring. Regular supervision and mentoring. You cannot just give this task to the students without properly guiding them. And to be honest with you guys, that's what I noticed. There are some, when they present their dissertation paper, they are not properly oriented, that there should be an alignment of the research problem to the research question, to the research objective, to the hypothesis, to the statistical tools. All these things should be aligned. And I asked my students, what happened? They were not properly informed. They were not properly oriented. See, therefore, a structure that includes regular supervision and mentoring should be offered by university. Third, there should be cohort support and scheduled coursework, because at times, most often, these are busy professionals. They need someone, if they have some concern and problem, they need someone to answer the queries right away. So no room for their inquiries to be replied delayed. And everyone, for example, if I have some questions, I want immediate reply. So if they will not be, if they're not replied with their queries, then that's the problem. But that's why for a structure to take place, there should be cohort support and scheduled coursework. Then the predictable progression toward dissertation completion. And I think all DBA or PhD for that, they are really looking for the completion of their dissertation paper. I think that's what matters most, right? For the completion of their paper. But the question there is, remember, they are working professionals. That's a problem. Monday to Friday, they have only perhaps weekends to perform it. How about their responsibilities at home, their family, their kids? So that's what makes it so challenging. That is why there is a need for what we call as structure. Structure. Really, structure matters in working professionals, debate for that matter. So this structure, lastly, helps professionals maintain momentum, manage time effectively, and complete the program within reasonable period. To be honest, based on my experience, I myself, I did 1 or 2 master's degree, of which I was not able to finish it completely because of some intervening circumstances in my work. Good that there was one scholarship in Australia doing my master's in education at that time. Of course, I will be compelled to do it really there. So I finished it. So that's why when I did my doctoral, it took me 3 years to finish it instead of 4. because I make it sure that I have to attend the class on Saturdays, and in balance, I have to perform all the tasks and assignments within the week. So I make it sure that whatever assignment task that has to be submitted on that particular week, I should submit it. Otherwise, if I would not, then that would mean delay for me, and I will be overburdened for that effect. So therefore, structure really matters. And I think this university, I suppose, and I believe that this university make it to the point that students are being taught how to manage their time, how to perform their tasks with supervision of the faculty so that they would be able to submit on time. With that, thank you.
That is very well explained, Dr. Enrique. Structure does matter, and we all hear a lot about work-life balance. So now we are going to talk about work, education, and life balance. So we'll try to go ahead and balance all the three aspects as we move forward if you guys want to go ahead and study further. Now, we have already talked about structure. Let's talk about something else because this is something that most people get confused about. And this is something that is going to be core to your DBA journey. Okay. That is choosing the right research topic. Now, Dr. Gabriel, I know you have been helping a lot of people. You have been a part of a lot of committees also where research topic finalization happens and many other things. And that too for over a long period of time before and after, technology playing its role. Okay. So, Dr. Gabriel, what are your thoughts on this? Choosing the right research topic. How do you go about it? How important is it? You're on mute, sir. You'll have to unmute.
Thank you. So, when we talk about choosing the right topic, first and foremost, it involves a lot of thinking, meditating, contemplating what precisely do I want to study. And concurrently with that, you ask yourself, what problem is recurring in my place of work, in my organization, in society? Why leaders struggle with making particular decisions? Uh, you may want to look at the digital transformation, the effectiveness or lack thereof of leadership. Most of all, in trying to arrive at your topic, you want to identify as far as possible the gaps. So you have the problems, you look at the gaps, and you allow all these elements to influence you into making a proper decision. Now, you want to ask yourselves again, is this research going to be practical? Is it important? Is it theoretically informed? What about literature? Is there sufficient literature? If there is not, then there is a paucity of literature, and your research can fill that gap. So you want to look at relevant theories, existing frameworks, scholars and who debate and talk about that same area. Then again, you don't want the topic to be too broad. You start off with a general idea and then you minimize until you are very clear. You don't want it to be too abstract and too nebulous. You say, exactly, no. You narrow down and you'll be able to arrive at a particular topic. In choosing that topic, that area of study, you ask, is it real? Is it current? Does it matter for decision makers, policy makers? Is it going to make something important? Can I access data? Sometimes your topic is a sensitive one. Data could be sensitive. You want to look at the ethical and ramifications. Is there a clear practical outcome? And most of all, can I complete this study within the given time? Can it lead to publication? Can it assist me in academia? So you want to choose a topic that is current, a topic that is interesting, something that would really move you forward into the world of work. And you have you have your topic, concurrently you have your problem, you have everything there, you present it, and then you move forward. Thank you.
Right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for all your insights. Let me quickly go ahead and add one more thing. This is for all of you guys. When you are choosing your research topic, I mean, remember the fact that this is something that we are doing for people who will get benefited by it in 27, 28, 2030, 2035. Okay. The newer generation, I mean, the Gen Zs, the people who are born after 2000, they look at things in a different way. They are more technology driven, aligned than anything else. Try to go ahead and embed some of facts and figures as they take it also. This is actually going to make sure that your research stays relevant for a longer period of time. Okay, so this is just quickly to add one more, point to all the things that Dr. Gabriel already talked about. Now, let's go ahead and talk about something more critical, something more, relevant today. And in consideration to what I was also talking about, the power of artificial intelligence, generative AI in DBA. I mean, we all have been using tools from AI, from ChatGPT, from Grok, Perplexity, many more, it's more or less become the new natural, right? So who is going to be better to answer this question than Dr. Rajiv Iyer, who has already, got his hands dirty with all the dirty data that he has worked with, in data science space, in generative AI space. He has taught a lot of students. Plus, he has done his research. He holds his doctorate also. Dr. Rajiv, power of artificial intelligence and generative AI. Like it, you don't like it, you can't ignore it. That's the reality. How you want to go about it?
Yeah. So regarding AI and generative AI, so we have been hearing a lot of things about this. The most prominent being it is going to eat up your jobs.
Yeah.
People have been, I would say, fear mongering that, okay, it is going to eat up your job. There won't be jobs in the future. Uh, Things like robotic taking over your job has been around for quite some time now. Particularly these discussions and has increased since the generative AI, particularly ChatGPT, has come to us roughly in the year 2021. And post that, there has been these discussions. Now, what we want to achieve here is that instead of fearing about AI and generative AI, let's think about that how it will value add to our research journey in DBA. Now let us understand that AI and generative AI, these are not shortcuts. Rather, these are intelligence multipliers. These are your support system when you use it in a wise way. And how do you use it in a wise way is something we'll be teaching through even hands-on sessions in the course. Because now it is not about whether you want to use the tool or not. Definitely you will be have you will have to use the tool. There is no other respite that you cannot use the tool. I'll go with my traditional way of doing research. That is not going to happen today, because the person who will use the tool will get results much more quickly, and they will get more authenticated result than a person who will go by the traditional route of research. Now, generative AI and AI in general will improve your speed. Now, before this, the way research was done before generative AI is people used to go to Google, download some papers, read through those papers, understand some review papers, and then after a lot of such deliberations, which might take months, you would sit and try to write a review article on your own. Now, with generative AI, what used to take months will be over in days. So you will discover your literature much more faster because the searching is now going to be done using generative AI. And generative AI is expert in synthesizing that data, which the human will take much more time. So there will be, let's say you take 50 papers. What about the other 50 or 150 papers which you missed? Now, generative AI will scan through the whole of the research domain and give you the concise knowledge through which your literature discovery, or in simple terms, if I put what is happening in the domain in which you want to pursue your PhD, or in the domain you want to pursue your DBA, will be there in front of you in minutes. Then what is your job? Your job is to read through it, understand quickly, and then progress ahead what ideally would have taken months if you did not use generative AI. That is the beauty of it. This, in turn, will help you frame your research problems much better, and you will have the complete knowledge of that particular problem, which will stem from the literature gap, which again will come from the synthesis and literature review, which is done by generative AI. Then, once this research problem is framed, you go for data analysis and pattern recognition, again, which can be easily done using generative AI. Another advantage, or rather I would start from the problem which we have, is that most of the industry professionals may not be aware of the academic structure of writing a research paper. And when you start to pursue your DBA, this will matter when you want to publish papers. Now here also, your generative AI will play a very critical role, where by giving the right prompts, it will help you in getting that academic writing structure, which one may not be aware of in the beginning. Eventually, when you start publishing your papers, one paper, two paper, you will be used to that kind of a structure. Okay. Now, another thing is decision making. Now, decision making, as we understand, involves a lot of variables, a lot of constraints. There will be some intuitions, there will be some data churning. Now, generative AI in general, happens to be a very good candidate in doing this. Given the correct prompts, detailed prompts, it can be a good assistant in decision making. But once it makes the decision, be sure to read it, understand it, see how has it come to that particular decision, and go through it as a human, and then be free to even critique it. Don't take it as it is. So these are some of the skills which we would like to, which you would like to have as a AI-enabled DBA candidate. Okay, so identifying your gaps, you can frame a question, ask the AI to refine your question. You can frame some objectives, then ask your AI to refine those objectives. It can support you with your quantitative as well as qualitative analysis of the data. And it can save your time for higher order thinking. The lower order thinking, you have delegated it to AI. Now, while doing all this, the obvious question is, are you delegating all the thinking to AI? Or in other ways, how do you responsibly use it? And how do you ethically use the AI? So AI, as I said, will act as a good assistant. But that doesn't mean that it should replace your thinking. Because the moment we start or the moment we stop thinking, we lose our existence as a human. So do not delegate all the thinking to AI. Rather, we should use it as a tool, an efficient tool, which supports your thinking so that you maintain your research integrity and that originality or novelty, which is the key to publish any paper. Any reviewer will tell you that what is the novelty in your work. So that originality and novelty needs to come from the human. And it is the human, or in your case, the student and the supervisor, is going to be crucial here to make that human judgment and validate whatever the AI is telling you. Okay, so this is where generative AI and AI comes handy, and it will, as I said, reduce a lot of time, which originally was months in doing tasks which you need primarily for your research paper. Steps like literature review, having a research problem, data analysis, data interpretation, academic writing, decision making is now enhanced and multiplied with the use of generative AI, and we will be guiding you on how to effectively use it, because it is not that no one of you knows how to use it. It is about how do you effectively use it and how you use it ethically. Okay, so these are the things which will enable your DBA program by the use of AI and generative AI. Over to Shikhar.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv. It's very well explained, and I am sure the people attending this workshop are gonna be aligned with it. Right? Now, let's move on to our next question, which is equally important. How important is industry relevant research in DBA? We all have been talking about DBA is more for working professional. So, how do you make sure that it's industry relevant research in DBA? Let me quickly ask Dr. Enrique to step in for this
Yeah.
question.
Yep, you're right. Now, as I said earlier, the difference between PhD and DBA is that DBA is more into applied science, meaning to say the real problem in the workplace. And that's what I like with this program, because we are actually doing research, identifying a problem in the workplace, and using scientific method of searching solution for it. Then that makes, for me, research, I would say, useful, practically useful. So in DBA, we make it sure that your research should be industry relevant. What does the industry need? What is the workplace issue or concern or problem? Very basic in doing research. I think that was shared a while ago by Dr. Gabriel, that without a problem, there can be no research. That is very true. The first step of doing research is first identifying the problem. And the good thing is that once you have identified the problem in that particular company or institution or workplace, absolutely, with the permission of the management, you have access to real data and organizational settings. That's the good thing. That's the good thing. Or with, of course, with the promise of the confidentiality thing, because I'm sure that the management would not allow you to have their, I would say, info published with their names attached on it. Another advantage if the research is industry relevant thing is that it produces immediate value. I have one instance where one of my students in DBA was at first, I would say, disappointed because when he asked permission to do research in his company, the company would not allow him to do so. And I told him, why not tell the company, sir, ma'am, with due respect, the output of this research will certainly benefit the company. Will benefit the company. So instead that the company will spend dollars to conduct research, here am I doing it for free. So again, he approached the management, and the management finally said, oh, it makes sense. So he was allowed then to conduct research in his own company. Why? Because obviously the company where you will be conducting the research is the one enjoying the benefit, the immediate value to the institution, communities, or industries. Another thing is that if you're doing this industry relevant research in DBA, it would enhance the candidate's professional credibility and leadership impact. In other words, in other words, would you not be fortunate and privileged enough that in one way or another you have helped a certain company who may be perhaps struggling in their operations, in their systems, in their human resource development, in their leadership, in their management. And here comes, you provide a solution to a specific problem that the company is facing. So that again would add, I would say, professional credibility to the candidate. And obviously, as I said earlier at the start, that what makes this program, I would say, relevant, especially if the research obviously is industry relevant, it's because it's useful. You just don't research just for compliance, of which others perhaps, which well, that's what our program requires. That's true. But beyond the compliance is the fact that you have the privilege to help a certain company solve a real problem in their workplace. And with that, that makes you, I would say, a significant person solving a real problem in the workplace. Mr. Sanket?
Yes, that is true. And even approaching the company to make sure that you explain them the business side of thing, that is also solving problems. So you actually did two researches instead of one. So that's another way of looking at it. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and follow this up with Dr. Rajiv also. Does a DBA change the way professional think and decide going forward, approaching a problem, things as such? What's your take on this, Dr. Rajiv?
Yeah, Sanket. So, uh, continuing with the uh, previous discussion on AI and connecting it with the current question that how does DBA change the way professional thinks and decide? Now, let us understand in today's day and age, you're not competing just with your fellow humans, you're also competing with AI. And as I said, we need to make AI our friend and not a foe. use it as an assistant. Now, what do we mean by this? Is rather than just believing on your intuition, we need to make decisions which are supported by data, supported by validated insights. This makes our decision making much more efficient, and the probability of success increases. When I say or use the term probability, I am referring again to or using the term which is a term in data science, where we are using data, in short, to make decisions rather than just my intuition, or one can say my gut feeling and things like that, which may go wrong at times. So moving ahead in a DBA, or rather I would say the outcome of a DBA should be that you are a professional who works very differently from the person who has not done a DBA. Your thought process, your decision making, your strategic thinking should be different and should be data driven than maybe your competitor or your ally who makes decision in a very traditional way. Now, the other thing is the methodology which we follow in DBA. Before solving any problem, we frame the question that what exactly is the problem. It is said very commonly that if you are able to define your problem, you have solved it half. So if I'm able to define my problem very well, you have already solved the problem to some extent. This is where, again, the approach of a DBA professional will be different as compared to a normal. Now, the basic way you think as a leader should be more reflective, and it should move from the regular ways of decision making like brainstorming, just by going by experience, and it should shift to an approach which is more analytical in nature, more data driven in nature. Here is where the training as a DBA professional, which we will be providing in this particular course, comes or becomes very critical. You fundamentally change the way you think as a leader and move from the traditional to a more advised, informed, critical decision maker who decides based on data. Now, another thing is that we all are aware of the term trends. Now, trends are something which come and go. Now, today there is a trend that, okay, we are talking about AI. Few months back, we were talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Everybody was buying non-fungible tokens, posters. Before that, we were talking about Bitcoins. So these are trends. But then following the trend is one thing, and staying ahead of the curve is another. How do you stay ahead of the curve? Is to understand things by informed research rather than just by going with the trends. So in leadership, it is always said that you should not be a follower, you should be the one who leads. You should be the one who creates the trends and let others follow you. This is the mindset change which we are looking for from this DBA program, that you be ahead of the majority of people, particularly your competitors, in terms of strategic thinking, strategic decision making, backed up by a lot of data and not just by intuition. Now, your DBA program will transform the way you think, as I said, not just by knowing facts like other people do, that they know something, they deduce something. How did they do it? No one knows. It may work, may not work. But when you go by data, the probability of success, the probability of your decision being a success increases. So this is how I would say that fundamentally the DBA program or the outcome of this program should be the way you think, the way you make decision, the way you strategize in your business or your entrepreneurial journey. Over to Shikhar.
Thank you. And that's very well explained, Dr. Rajiv. Thank you for all the insights. Now, let's move on to one more important question that a lot of learners do go ahead and ask. Okay, PhD is for academics, DBA is for industry, but can DBA also open doors to academia without leaving the industry? Let's get Dr. Gabriel to go ahead and share his views on this topic. Dr. Gabriel.
Certainly, I would say um, very often people ask about a DPA, PhD, as though there's a conflict. Which one is higher? Which one is better? And really, PhD, a doctoral study is a doctoral study, right? I can say perhaps in terms of what? In terms of legendary, people think that the PhD seems to be higher, but that is not true. Now you have your DPA, you can work and simultaneously do your studies. As I noted earlier on, to me, I think that enhances your overall ability. It boosts and energizes your esteem. For example, you have conducted research in a particular office, in a particular organization, you have identified the gaps, you have noted the problem, and now you, based on your academia, based on your knowledge, coupled with your qualification, you are able to competently, effectively address that solution, of course, with the team, with management, with policy makers. So I think it is really very, very profitable, beneficial that you do not be afraid. You are right there within your place of work. Sometimes you may not get permission, but as Dr. Enrique noted earlier on, you continue to ask, and then authorities, though the administration will see the benefit, they will see the purpose and grant you that necessary permission. And when you get that, you are now perhaps part, you can form part of the team, you can guide, you can lead and show them how the company can be improved, how things could be done differently, how decisions could be made more effectively so that employees can benefit. Moreover, do not forget, you enter that world of academia where you start writing peer review, you giving conference, you conducting workshops. And to me, that is really what this the DBA is all about. It really moves you and puts you in a good vantage position where you have academia, say on one hand and work on the other, but both going together, and you are there improving lifestyle, improving society as well. We don't only want to keep it limited in that particular place of work. It overflows into society, become a better person. You are able to augment and assist the behavior, you can assist the lifestyle of fellow citizens.
Right, awesome. Thank you, Dr. Gabriel, for sharing your views. So, in a nutshell, the answer is yes, you can go ahead and move into academia without leaving the industry. Now, we've been talking about a lot of stuff right now, lots of insight. Let me go ahead and quickly ask Dr. Enrique to summarize more or less everything and answer the question, what should you evaluate before choosing your DBA program as a student, coming in from different
Yeah,
background, what should be, I mean, there's a lot of things going in their mind, so what
yeah.
should they evaluate before choosing a DBA program? Dr. Enrique, your takes on this.
To be honest, if I just learned this before I took my doctoral degree years ago, then the journey might have improved, right? And good for our incoming, I would say, candidates for this DBA thing. Basically, you have an idea of how to evaluate a program before choosing a DBA. First, you need to consider the program structure, meaning to say, are there clear timelines, coursework, and dissertation milestones? So I think that is the first thing that you need to inquire from the management. Second, you need also to ascertain if the faculty are experienced in applied research, because I always believe that people can give what they have. So you cannot give what you don't have. So I think the institution, the university should make sure that the faculty they're hiring have experienced themselves in applied research. And the question there is, are these faculty accessible to students? In other words, the second thing that a student should consider is supervision quality. Third, which is very, very, very important, the research alignment. Meaning, does the program, the DBA, support topics relevant to your industry or leadership role? And this is what I noticed. I have to be honest. This is what I noticed when students present their dissertation paper, because I also used to sit in the panel. For example, they are having DBA, but their topic, their research topic is outside DBA. And I said, how come? How come that they have been approved to such topic which is not even relevant to their DBA, to their program? So you have to make sure that the research topic that you will be choosing should be relevant, should be properly aligned to your industry or leadership role. In other words, do not choose a topic that you don't have specialty with. And I always emphasize that to my students. Please don't choose topic out of convenience or somebody work it. No, choose a topic where you are good at. Why? So that when you present your paper, my goodness, you can basically answer those questions, those queries. Why? Because you're good at it. Fourth, the flexibility, meaning to say, is the schedule designed for working professionals? Actually, we may have modular, we may have hybrid or weekend format. Right now, I'm teaching online and we meet during weekends. I did my doctoral degree 12 years, 13 years ago. I did it face to face, but I need to travel 3 hours to the university, then 3 hours back. So imagine that 6 hours every Saturday. I have to travel that much. That's why I even told the president in that university here in the Philippines, sir, would you mind to have online? And he said, we do not allow that. That was 30 years ago. But now they're doing it because more and more professionals are comfortable to do study online. Online. Fifth, fifth would be the completion support. And this is very, very important. Are there writing workshops, research clinics, or dissertation mentoring systems? As far as I could remember, in 2008, 2009, I did my master's in Australia. And you know what? Prior to the start of our class for 1 year program for that master's, we were being oriented to undergo Australian English class because my orientation is American English. So all students are being oriented brief for 2 weeks. How to do academic writing in a British Australian, I would say, format. I said, oh, it's good. So you have to make sure if indeed there are, I would say, completion support on that matter. And the last one is obviously your reputation and accreditation. In other words, you have to make sure is the institution recognized and credible in both academic and professional circles. That's the most important thing as all. There are a lot of scams out there, and we don't want to fall trapped in those scams, giving degrees where in fact something is wrong with their institutional accreditation. That's for me, Mr. Saket.
That's very well explained. That's very well explained, Enrique. And I hope that everybody agrees with me on this. And these points are actually, quite valuable for a lot of people. So, guys, you have been hearing us for quite some time. But remember, the right DBA reduces risk, it saves time, and it multiplies career impact. So the key question to ask is to yourself, is the DBA designed around my professional reality or around institutional convenience? Over here, we try to go ahead and make sure that you don't have to put your life on pause, but the program becomes a little bit flexible so that anybody can go ahead and do it without putting their life on pause. So, guys, what do you think? Is the DBA right for you? Yes, no, maybe? Right, I'm getting few thumbs ups. Hopefully, there will be more. So, again, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the first part of the session. Remember, there are more things that we'll be covering in today. And having said that, our programs at Exaltius are designed to support working professionals in strengthening their leadership capabilities, strategic thinking, and academic credibility. Over time, many of our learners have gone on to advance into senior leadership roles, strategic roles, expanded into consulting, advisory, academic pathways, and applied research directly to real organizational challenges. Sorry, the focus is not on quick outcomes, but on sustained professional growth and long-term career impact. Now, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the program in hand, that is the Doctoral of Business Administration program that we are offering to Dunster Business School. It's a 2-year program, a 24-month program. It's 100% online. You don't need to leave your job or go anywhere. You can do it from the comfort of your home. The program will award you 120 credits, that is ECTS, it's European Credit and Transference System. Somebody in the chat also asked about the eligibility criteria. So, Princess, this is for you and others. So, in terms of eligibility, you should have completed your master's degree or equivalent. If you don't have your master's degree, we expect you to have minimum 7 years of work experience, 5 to 7 years of work experience in a field so that we can go ahead and get you enrolled. Okay, your curriculum, detailed academic background and professional experience, 2 letter of recommendation, and you can go ahead and get in touch with our support team also. They can go ahead and help you with that also. A research proposal needs to be handy. However, you need to select your research topic. Post 6 months after the theory also you can do. And obviously the language is going to be English throughout the session. So you need to be proficient with English. If English is not your first language, then you have to produce something to prove that you are profound or proficient with English. And we recommend you to have minimum 5 years of experience in order to do so. Having said that, the structure is also going to be pretty simple. The first 6 months is primarily going to be theory. That's how we start. Then you move on to a collection of data, which more or less is going to take the first year of your work. Second year onwards, you will move towards your thesis, where you will be working on the problem statement of your choice and reaching a solution. Towards the end, there will be a thesis defense in which you have to defend your thesis, and that's how you get your degree awarded. The program is actually going to benefit you in acquiring critical skills like business-oriented thinking, decision-making capabilities. It will also open door to multiple career opportunities and long-term growth, as I mentioned before. Now, the Doctoral of Business Administration program is offered in collaboration with Exaltius and Dunster Business School, with a simple idea to make sure that the program is not only for working professional, but it's also being delivered by working professional. And while we are trying to do that, we try to make sure that it goes ahead and as much value as you want for the program. Just to give you a small brief overview about Dunster Business School, located in Switzerland. They have the registered business in Zug with a campus in Etoy. And they have 4-star rating on QS. They have membership for ACBSP, AACSP. They are QHE accredited, EHE accredited. You can even go to a website to check more about them, but it's very well recognized. So guys, if you feel that DBA is something that you want to do, if you feel that DBA is something that is right for you, you guys, I suggest that you go ahead and either fill in the form. You can scan the QR code as it is on your screen, or you can go ahead and click on the link that I just sent you in the chat. And from there, you can go ahead and fill in the form. Our team will get in touch with you and help you understand your candidature and help you get enrolled into the DBA program also. So guys, now I'll open the house for questions too. If anybody has any questions, anything that you guys want to ask, feel free to let me know. If you want to talk, you can even raise your hand. I can give you access to talk, but this is how it is going to be. So it's up to you to decide right now. Is this the end of this workshop, or is this a new beginning for you guys? The choice is yours. We are here to help you make informed decisions. If you are interested, please fill in the form. You can click on the link that I shared in the chat right now, and we'll be more than happy to go ahead and assist you with this. Any question, anybody? All right, so I have one question. There is often a high expectation for DBA graduates to hit the ground running. Have you come across instances where PhD or DBA graduates were overqualified on paper but lacked practical agility required for their specific roles? Can a new DBA avoid that pitfall? That's the first question. Panelists, you can even see these questions in the question and answer section. But this is a common question, right? We already discussed a bit about it. I remember Dr. Enrique talking about it also. Would you like to take this question, sir? There is often high expectation for DBA graduates. How can new DBA avoid that pitfall?
Yeah, that's why I make it to the point that when I give, for example, since I'm teaching research methodology, I make it to the point that the research topic that they are going to undergo should be the real problem in the respective workplace. So in other words, how to overcome lack of practicality and agility. One is ground learning in real problems. That's one. So in other words, if the candidate has actual knowledge of these workplace problems and address it through research, that in a way would improve his what we call as practicality and agility. Another one is another way where you can improve this so-called practicality and agility thing is your decision making ability. There has been studies conducted that on daily basis a person typically makes 2,000 decisions a day average. In other words, all of us are decision makers. So in other words, we may not be a big decision maker right away, but make sure that in your respective workplace, you participate even in small making decisions in the company, because more or less that would expose you, that was exposed to the real problem situation in the workplace that requires decisions. Who knows? You could be a part of that decision making process. I remember once I attended a national conference here in the Philippines, and the floor was open for suggestion. And I was just, I was just suggesting something in the conference. And I said, I just say it, who knows? Oh, I was surprised because months after that suggestion of mine was institutionalized for the entire country, for the entire country. So do not ever underestimate your little expression of ideas and thoughts. Who knows? Who knows? But I think more than that is your ability to express your opinion. That's why I always believe that there is no right, there is no wrong opinion. Anyway, that's your opinion. And at your own credit, that should be right. So those are the things that I would say that develops your agility and practicality in the workplace. Yes.
Right, awesome. Anybody else would like to add something? To Gabriel, to Rajiv, anybody?
Yeah, I would.
I have one more question though. Is DBA suitable for those who are not working professionals, but students in academic background? So somebody who is not from the industry, let's say they are from academics or they are freshers. I mean, Dr. Rajiv, you know it very well. It's a culture in India that you go ahead and do your masters and then you continue to PhD or DBA also. That's something that a lot of people does. What's your take on that?
So the advantage here, outrightly, is that you get uh, industry exposed curriculum rather than a pure academic curriculum. So you are at an advantage, because traditionally what happens here is that if you're just into academics and you're doing your uh, DBA or maybe just a regular PhD uh, in business administration, you might face problems, which was one of the previous questions, that you are overqualified on paper, but when you hit the ground, you feel that you are falling short. This is precisely what happens uh, when you start to pursue a purely academic kind of a PhD, which is not the case here, where you are talking about DBA, where professionals, as Sanket said, from the industry are going to guide you, who are already working on something, who are already working on problems, who are doing some consultancy. So you're not talking about a purely academic PhD here. So that uh, I think will answer the question, is that you are definitely at an advantage doing DBA rather than a purely academic PhD.
Right. I think that should answer the question, Muhammad Ibrahim. Uh, Dr. Gabriel, would you like to add something else? to what we're discussing? You have had
Certainly,
your fair share of experience.
I endorse the sentiments echoed by Dr. Rajiv, because when you don't just want strict academia, you want to have that practical, you want to have the academia, but it must be grounded in practicality. So when you begin to study, you do your masters immediate, you do your DBA immediately, you lack that practical academia, you lack that grounding. And keep in mind that it is not just only qualifications, because when we looked at the former question, you have all the qualification, then it is lopsided. So you want to make sure, yes, you are well qualified, and simultaneously, concurrently, you have that practical experience to influence others. Because if you don't have that practical experience, then you are only talking a lot of academia, and so it would not be well balanced.
That's very well explained. Anybody else has any questions? Primarily, I saved the last half an hour to make sure that all your queries gets answered. Is there anybody who wants to talk? All you need to do is just raise your hand. I'll give you access to talk. Otherwise, you can go ahead and just type it in the chat. I see a hand raised. That's from Non Kululeko. I hope I said your name correct.
Yes, you did. Good morning again. I
Good
just
morning.
wanted to make
Just
sure
start
that I.
by telling us where you're from, what do you do, and follow it up with your question.
Okay. My name is Nonkululeko Chili. I'm from South Africa. I'm working for Department of Health. I'm a district M&E monitoring and evaluation lead in the district. So I don't know if that will qualify me. I don't have a master's, but I do have above 8 years of experience. So I don't know if I want to apply, but currently this year I'm doing my postgraduate diploma in project management.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay, so I mean, if I have to answer your question in one word, you are qualified. Okay, so there is one difference that is between MBA and DBA is that DBA can also be done without your master's. If you have sufficient experience, you can just go ahead and move towards DBA. So that is an advantage that you have. It's more or less started in Europe, but it's being followed all across the globe now. So that is one thing where we go ahead and convert your experience in terms of credit. So there's a thing called APEL, that's accreditation to prior experiential learning. It is similar to RPL, that is recognition to prior learning, but it's more towards the academic side of things, RPL, and APL is more towards the industry side of things. So if you have industrial experience on paper, definitely your profile can be considered. I suggest that you go ahead and have a word with one of our counselors. Please submit your resume and let me go ahead and analyze that, which I more or less do with all the DBA candidates. Okay, so we'll go ahead and analyze your profile once again. If required, we can even go ahead and get on a 30-minute call or something, and let's understand your profile. And I mean, I don't see it as a problem right now, but let me deep dive into it, your profile. Maybe then I'll give you more concrete answer. I just don't want to give you a superficial answer. I hope you agree with me on this.
Noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Just give your resume to the counselor and we'll take it from there. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I've just filled the form. Will they contact me?
Yes, they will contact you. I'll see if they connect you today. Otherwise, Monday for sure.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else has any more questions or anything that you guys want to ask? You just need to raise your hand. I saw there are DBA in different specializations such as AI, cybersecurity, etc. All right, so let's talk a bit about specializations. Okay, we don't really expect you to do a DBA in AI or in cybersecurity or anything as such. The idea, let me put it this way, okay? We work in the space of AI. We work in the space of cybersecurity. We work in a space of blockchain, as an organization. And as I said before, while we were discussing things also, that you would want to make sure that your work, your research, it is all AI driven. It is all technology driven so that it does not get obsolete. It is relevant and people can go ahead and use it in the future. Plus, it adds a lot more value because everything right now that we do today is tech driven. I mean, it's rare that you'll find somebody who does not have a shop or who has a shop but does not have like a Google Map direction on it, or a website, or maybe a page or something. Social media could be anything, but everything is digital right now. That is why we go ahead and suggest that you go ahead and sprinkle your dissertation topics with some AI magic dust that is actually going to go ahead and help. So, be it towards the space of AI, towards the space of cybersecurity, that is where we excel. See, there are hundreds of different places where you can get your DBA from. Okay. But what value does Exaltius bring in? So, we bring in the core value of what we do. Okay. Data science, big data, cloud, AI, as you see on my screen also. Okay, so technology is what we excel at, and that is what we want to go ahead and work with. I hope that answers your question. Dr. Rajiv already added a lot of things about the use of AI, generative AI, technology. So getting your DBA topic, a sprinkle of AI dust, or, make sure that it's scalable, make sure that the idea is more today relevant or tomorrow relevant is what it's all about. I hope that answers your question. Anybody else has any more question? Feel free to ask. All you need to do is raise your hand or just use the chat box to type in. I've also shared the link for the form. I hope you guys fill it in so that we can connect you and help you. Any question, anybody? If there's no questions, we are going to go ahead and end the session. Right, I do not see any more questions coming in, nor do I see any hands raised. So before we go ahead and go towards the end, Dr. Gabriel, any last words for our learners today?
Certainly, yes. I would like to motivate, encourage participants to think seriously about pursuing your career. Do not be easily intimidated or daunted. Believe in yourself. Talk to yourself every day, and in that inquiry, tell yourself, yes, I can accomplish. I must. I will. And pursue your career. I always want to see the very best for all students. You may not have a master's, as we are told by Mr. Sankey. Do not be daunted, but look at your experience and always aim to really stimulate that cognition. So I want to support and encourage all of you to really seriously consider your studies. Hearing.
Thank you. Dr. Rajiv, any last words from you?
Yeah. So, one thing which I would like to add to the discussion here, what exactly should be the outcome of the DBA program? Of course, it should change the way you think and all, but understand this, we are indirectly talking about something which is known as lifelong learning. What is lifelong learning? Because see, understand that today we are talking about AI, tomorrow we'll talk about cybersecurity, no one knows with certainty what is going to happen 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line. So, with your careers. So, the one skill which should be developed through this DBA is that you should be able to learn new things. Whatever new technology comes tomorrow, you should be in a position to align yourself. You should be able to learn new things. That is what will get you ahead than someone who is stagnant, who is static, who says, okay, I have learned all that is needed in my career and I'll stop learning today. That is the person who will be in trouble. As against you who are enthusiastic to learn new things, which your DBA should imbibe in you. That's it from my side.
Thank you, thank you. That's beautiful last words from you. But again, as I said, it's up to you guys to decide whether it's the end of this workshop or it's the beginning of something new, something exciting. I am looking forward to seeing all of you in the program. And if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to talk about, I mean, I'm sure you all know your counselors. You can just ask them. They can go ahead and get you connected with me also. We can also go ahead and get on a 30-minute call, and I would love to go ahead and take your questions and maybe help you, make the right decision. With that being said, thank you once again, all of you, for being a part of this session, and thank you, our panelists, for being part of this session. I know it's Sunday, you have plans, but you chose to go ahead and share all these insights. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You have a wonderful day. Bye. Take care.
Most welcome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.